Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and another video here. Today I have the next installment of my color series Redux, where I'm going back and revisiting a series that I started about three-ish years ago, where I went through my whole collection and I selected typically the top 10 favorites of each color family. Previously, though, for like black, gray, and white, I did that in a combined video and I did 5 of each. This time around, I am going to do 10 of each, and we are on the whites, which, as you know, if you are a longtime viewer of my channel, white is probably the only nail polish color where I'm just kind of like, about, because in my opinion, plain white nails kind of look like teeth. Like they're just, they creep me out a little bit. I have grown in that opinion just a little bit. And you'll see here from my top 10s, you'll see what I mean. And listen, we all know I am, I have a hard time with knowing what color is what. So if you feel like some of these don't quite fit the white category, just, you're going to leave it in the comment. I know you are. But like some of them have white bases, but really strong shimmers. So they lean more of a different color. But you know what? This is my categorization. You guys categorize these however you want, but these are my top 10 whites in my collection in no particular order. We'll also, at the end, just real quick run through the 5 that made my video last year. I didn't look at my previous video before I put my list together, so we'll see if there's any overlap and where that lies and like what remained a favorite and what didn't. So let's hop right into it. My top 10 white nail polishes in no particular order, and I believe most of these are going to be indie polishes. I think there's like one mainstream in here. Also, it's lunchtime, so I have a cup of tomato soup. Okay, so first off, I have a couple of 9-0s, and I'm going to pop swatches up here. The first one is Snitches Get Stitches from 9-0 Lacquer. This is a brand that was created by JustFace90, who is a YouTuber. She no longer runs the brand. Maybe someday she'll bring it back. Who knows? It's been a long time, so I'm not sure what the plans are with that. But this is kind of a bright white Crelly base with a rainbow of glitters in there, and they're a lot of them are very neon. The green, I would say, is not as neon, but like the blue, there's like a reddish orange. There's one that is like kind of the color of Flip Flop Fantasy in here. I don't know, I associate that color. And then like, there's like a chartreuse glitter, and they are a variety of sizes of hex glitters, and then the green ones are square. And this was released in her Animal Crossing collection. So there's a villager called, I believe their name is Stitches, and they're like this patchwork bear. And so like all the colors are kind of inspired by that bear. And I think that the only way I can like actively wear white polishes for a long period of time is if they have stuff in it. That's what I say, like glitter or just something colorful to offset the starkness of the white, because otherwise I just feel like I'm like looking down at my hands and I'm just like, what is going on down there? Like it's like a weird thing, I know. But so that is the first 9-0. And the second one I have is called Dragon Fruit Freeze. And this is, again, another very stark white base, but then it has black, like really flat, matte black shards in it. And I love black shards mixed in with any kind of base. I know black shards are kind of like a love-hate thing in the community. Some people really, really love them. Similar to bar glitters. It's like either you really love it or you really hate it. I've never met somebody who's like middling on the black shards, or at least maybe they're just not as vocal. But this is from her Smoothie Bar series. She had like a few drops within that series, and I have all but one, and they're all this kind of like bright, stark, most of them are like neon-y type colors, and then they have the black shards in there that really stand out against that neon backdrop. And so that's another one I really enjoy, and this is kind of when I think I started to realize like, oh, you kind of do like white polishes, just in a very specific style. I have another polish from a now defunct brand, and this is Enchanted Polishes, the 90s. And it is more of a grungy white base. Like it's like a little bit grayed out, kind of milkier, I guess. And it has really, really tiny black and white hex glitters in like 2 different mini sizes. And then a bunch of circle glitters that are matte neon. So we've got purple, green, pink, orange, and like a yellowy chartreuse, as well as a blue. And this one, I believe, is one of the more sought after Enchanteds. Whenever I see like people posting ISOs or, you know, in search ofs on like Facebook groups, this is one that I see quite often. I ended up picking this up at her like final going out of business sale. I was lucky to get it. I really like the 90s nostalgia stuff, which is one of the reasons why I really like this. But I gotta be honest with you, I don't really remember the 90s. Like, I was 8 when the new millennium hit. And so a lot of stuff that people are like, oh, like, I'm so nostalgic for the 90s and like this and that. Like, I don't really remember a lot of it because I was just too young for a lot of the stuff that was like considered cool at that time. Like the only thing I could say is like maybe like Pokemon, I guess, was like one of the things that from the 90s that stuck around with me. But like looking back at the stuff, I'm like, man, I wish I was older in the 90s so that I could have like really interacted with a lot of like these fun things when they were first coming out. I don't know. I feel like I know I'm a millennial, but I don't relate to a lot of other millennials with like a lot of their favorite pop culture stuff from when they were kids, because people always make fun of me when I say this, but I grew up in a village, so like everything hit us like 5 to 10 years later after it was popular. And also both of my parents, like their parents were either older, like my mom was like the youngest of a lot of kids. So her parents were a lot older. So like the influence they had on her was like a little bit older. And then my dad grew up with like his grandparents were like farmers, and you know, my grandmother, she grew up doing a lot of that work. So like a lot of the toys I had were, Rob says that I grew up in like the Great Depression because like I played with like Tinker Toys and Lincoln Logs in like the 90s, you know? So like I didn't have the same pop culture connection as normal people. So yeah, that's how that's my explanation of the 90s. Speaking of Pokemon though, I have Plus Life Lacquer's Toget About It, and this one is based off of Togepi, the Pokemon. And I remember as a kid when Togepi launched, like when they discovered Togepi, and I was like, oh my god, it's so cute. I was obsessed. I loved Pokemon a ton as a kid. I'm nostalgic for Gen 1 and then Gen 2, because those are the ones that I played, but I didn't really play after Gold and Silver. So, and it's just like now there's just so many Pokemon. But like there's a few where I'm like, those are really cute and I kind of want to get back into it, but then I'm like, this is a bad rabbit hole I don't want to go down. But this is another very stark white base, and it has red and blue metallic flakies, and then it looks like it's got some kind of goldish looking shimmer in there. And this is based off of, if you've never seen Togepi, I'll pop up a picture, but it's this cute little creature, and he's kind of like half in an eggshell still, with like these really fun shapes all over the eggshell, and like, you know, you're like an 8-year-old kid or whatever, and like that's the cutest thing that ever could have existed. So I was obsessed with Togepi, and when this launched from not 90 Plus Life Lacquer, I was like, I have to have that. That one is very nostalgic for me, so I picked this up. I just drank some of that soup and it was really hot, and now my eyes are watering. This is my one mainstream in the entire group, and this is Orly's Soleil PA Blanc. And I really like this one because wearing it alone on your nails, it doesn't feel as stark white, because it's kind of a grungier or like dimmer, I don't know if you want to call it like more of an eggshell type of white, although I guess eggshells are pretty stark, but like it's just got like a muted down tone. And I really like this. I don't really wear it alone because I don't wear whites on their own, but I really like it as a base for the nail art I never do. And it, like, because it's like sometimes with nail art, like if you use too stark of a white as your base, everything pops really nicely, but then it kind of makes everything kind of like meld into one flat image, if that makes any sense. But with this, it's a more subtle backdrop to whatever you're trying to present on the nails. So I feel like this, using this with like grungier or darker stamping or nail art, it works really well. And this came out in, actually, I wonder if they still sell it now, because I know they just discontinued some polishes, and the collection this was in, I think, maybe got discontinued, but I don't know. I don't know if they discontinued the whole collection or just some of it. So I'm sure you can get this from other websites though. I doubt like Orly is the only place you can get this. I have two from Danny Vienna, and they are kind of similar, but I like them both a lot. So the first one is Mondrian, and this one is based off of that painting that's like composition, and like every time I show this I'm like, I can't remember the order of the colors. It's like red, yellow, blue, or yellow, red, blue, or something like that. You know the one. It's the one with the squares of primary colors and the black lines. And I made sure at PBE this year to run on over to the Danny Vienna table, because this was a gift with purchase and I really, really wanted it. I really like, she does a lot of really cool artist themed polishes where she takes an artist, she picks a painting by them, and then just kind of bottles it up in like the most perfect way. And this is another one that just, this is another one where I kind of reevaluated again, because I don't know about you guys, but you know, you ever make progress and then forget you made progress, so you have to go back and make that progress again? So like, I thought I liked whites for a while, and then I just forgot. And then this one, I didn't want to take off at all. So this kind of reminded me like, oh, you like white. It's just, it's got to have some stuff in it. So, and then the other one, this was from Polished Pickup in February of this year, and this is Picasso Moth. So you can see it's got a very similar color scheme in there. It's got black bar glitters, as just like Mondrian does, and it has some yellow hex glitters, red shards in there, and then it's got this kind of like metallic-y green shard as well, and it looks like even some iridescent flakes and like a whole bunch of shimmer. They seem to have a very similar toned base, but because the Picasso Moth one has so much more stuff in it, it does kind of make the base look a little bit different. I know they're very similar, but I just really love Danny Vienna. Like, I just feel like she's an artiste, and from every drop, I'm like, there's always something that I want. Now, the next three are going to be the ones that are the controversial picks, the ones that are going to be, Hillary, that's not white, in the comments. So I'm just going to put them all together so you guys can get your comments all out at once. So the first one is Mooncat's Pixie stick, and on camera I feel like it looks white. It's like white, like a really sheer white, and it has this green to kind of blue shimmer that is really, really strong. So from the right angle, yeah, I know it doesn't look white, but see, like, it's hard to pick up on camera. But I classify this one as white because it's, when I look at it in the bottle, it's like the most prominent color. And it's only when it hits that right angle where you get that huge flash of like bright, bright green. So let me know. I wonder how Mooncat classifies it, but I'm not going to check because I want to live in my own little world. And then this next one is from Butter London. Is Butter London technically mainstream? Maybe. Do they even make polish anymore? I don't even know. I haven't kept up with them. And this one kind of, I waffle between pink, classifying this as pink, and maybe I put this in my pink. So if that happened, that's a problem. But I waffle between this being pink and it being white, and that is Doily, because it's got like kind of a pink leaning base, but all the glitters in it are white, and they're very fine bar glitters, like some of the thinnest bar glitters I've ever seen, and then a variety of sizes of hex glitters, and it's just kind of inspired by a doily, and I just thought that was really fun. I don't think it looks the best on the nail, but I like the concept of it, and so that's why I've maintained it. And it even has a bit of a fill line because I continue to wear it even though it's kind of ugly. So, and then Number 10 on my list of favorite whites and number 3 of the controversial picks. This is Monarch Snowball Frenzy, and this was from Polish Pickup December of 2023. And the reason why I think it's a little bit more controversial is, again, it's got a really, really stark blue shimmer in there, but it is filled to the brim with really itty-bitty and then even itty-bittier hex glitters that are white. And I can't tell if they're like matte or if they have some kind of like pearlescence to them because that shimmer is really, really strong. But this is a fun one. It's one that called to me from Polish Pickup, even though it's not my typical style. And I put it on pretty fast and I really enjoyed wearing it. So I don't know, I'm really liking what Monarch and Beau Revs are doing on their own, you know, because they used to be Fair Maiden together and then they split off into their own brands. And this is just, it's a really fun, unexpected winter polish. It kind of reminds me of when you shake up a snow globe, you know? So those are the top 10 polishes in my collection, but let's go over the 5 that I put on a few years ago and see how my tastes have changed or stayed the same. And the first one, this one kind of surprised me because looking at it now, I'm like, I don't feel like I actively want to wear that. And it is Cirque's Mystic Moonstone. It's a really, really shimmery, kind of pearlescent looking white. And the shimmer in it is really fun, but it's just that the base color, I don't know, it just doesn't work well for me. Even though it's like kind of the same concept as Monarch, where it's like got that whitish base with like blue shimmer, there's just something more fun about the Monarch than just the plain polish from Cirque. The second polish I had put on my list was 90's Dragon Fruit Freeze, so we have one repeat, and these will probably forever be a favorite in my collection. I have loved these for as long as I've seen them. I've never really waxed or waned on them, so I really enjoy the 90 ones. Next is one I think I decluttered, and this is China Glaze's Sauvignon and On, and I feel like maybe I was just trying to fill the list up because I'm looking at it on the screen here, and I'm like, it just looks too, like, school dancey. Like, it reminds me, I don't know, it's just like that shimmer with that super milky base. It just doesn't look good to me anymore. And I'm pretty sure I decluttered it, but I can't remember. Maybe I hung on to it because I wasn't ready to let go, but I don't like this polish anymore. I had Picture Polish's Lakodam on my list, and actually, originally I put it on this list as well, but then I pulled it out and I was like, Hillary, it's gray. Like, it's gray. Stop putting it on white lists. It's gray. So, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I feel like it's just a really, it's like a dark white, right? Like that's a thing, right? It's like a grungy dark white, but it's probably gray. And the last one I had on my list last time was Enchanted, the 90's, again, because that's just, it's like, this is just like the pinnacle of fun for me. Like white with a bunch of bright neon colors against it as a backdrop. Like, it's just so much fun. It's like a party. It reminds me of confetti. It reminds me of like party poppers. So it's no surprise to me that this one also overlapped. So those are the top 10 white polishes in my collection. I thought it was going to be really hard to pick 10 whites, and I was just like, do I just skip white altogether? But as I started writing my list, I just kind of was like, oh, and this one, and this one, and this one. So I feel like I've grown and matured as a person, and I kind of like white polishes now. And I think that just leaves us now with toppers, and then my color series Redux will be complete. So let me know down below, did any of these white polishes surprise you? Do you have any good recommendations for some fun, like curly glitters or white polishes that are just a lot more unique than just a plain white manicure? Because I would love to know. So leave that in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.